Michael with United Veterans Worldwide here for an exciting interview with Andrew and Gina. These are quality people who have an incredible story of entrepreneurship, and we're going to meet with them today and learn their journey of wellness individually and then together, what their experiences have been. And so I'm excited today to introduce you to Andrew and Gina. Will you guys share a little bit about yourselves with the group today?
Yeah, you want me to go first? All right, I'll go first. It's I could honestly say I've lived a very fulfilled and amazing life. I'm 38. But to preface this entire conversation, human relations are everything to us. And through thick and thin struggles, being an entrepreneur family and life and combat and education and everything in between, it's human relation. So for me, I was small town USA, born in Utah, raised in Utah. I graduated high school. That was kindergarten through 12th grade, and my class was 15 kids. So, I hear the struggles people have of where they're born. And I'd kind of like to delve into that with my story, because I was born in an area where there was zero opportunities. And it did not matter if you were American, Mexican, did not matter if you were Greek or Italian. There was zero opportunities, and yet human relations, meeting people and having people be mentors and just good people. They strived to make me better. In turn, I just wanted to make the most of my life. So, I graduate high school, and 3 days later, I leave for boot camp Marine Corps, and that was an eye-opening experience. And it's not that it's because it was super difficult, it's because you realize how small you are in this world, and that could be an eye-opening experience. And fast forward 2 decades, here we are, and we're making blades, and that's what we do, and we're making a product that gets shipped worldwide, and it's all the experiences in between that make that possible. So
I'm the 6th of 7 children from Missouri. My dad's a neuropsychologist. I wanted to be a psychologist growing up. That's all I really ever wanted to do, that or nursing. I moved out here when I was 18 just to try something new. Ended up just staying. So Andy and I met a little while back, and he told me that he did knives. I loved this whole idea. I come from a very creative family. I have always had, something creative in my life. I like to bake. I like to make candy. I like to draw. I've always done art. So this is kind of a natural fit for me. I love working with my hands. I love making things. I love creating things. So this has been kind of fantastic for me. But I also get to, kind of, along with my kind of psychology background, I love getting to know the customers, getting to know the people that we share this passion with. So it's been a lot of good times. So.
Well, I love hearing this about you guys. And Andrew, you said something that was very critical. You said you came from a small town where you felt like you had zero opportunities. I conducted an interview yesterday with Brandon. I call him my mural artist, and that was my long interview I had yesterday. And he expressed something very similar to the area which he lives in just south of LA, where there wasn't a lot of opportunity, and a lot of guys would go into the service as a way to see the world for the first time, and a lot of them take their cameras and everything and take pictures because it's a new journey for them that they wouldn't have had the experience otherwise. And as far as art, Gina, I would love to see some of your stuff. I just talked to this artist yesterday, and
it's funny because every single one of my siblings has something that they're really good at. I was always a portrait artist, so I can draw people very, very well, and I just do it as a hobby, though. It's just for fun.
Yeah. Well, on social media, it becomes more than a hobby, and it's shown to the whole world. So you let me know if you want to share some of that. Well, let's hear a little bit more. You want me to call you Andrew or Andy? What do you want me to call you?
Andy.
Yeah.
I'm Andy.
She likes Andy. Let's do Andy.
Andy. Okay. Well, so you went into the Marine Corps. Were you on the Pendleton side or were you on the Lejeune side?
I was penal inside. So,
Okay.
Growing up, you know how it is being like a boy, being a male, that you turn every stick you find on the ground to a gun, explosions and bombs and planes, and that was all cool, right?
Mm-hmm.
But growing up in the 80s and early 90s, that was like the heart of the action movie industry, right. Predator and Commando. And I just watched those, and I fell in love with the romantic idea of being like a commando. And from the earliest age, that's all I ever wanted to do, is to be a Marine. And, luckily for me, I had some really good mentorship, and I had some family members that were military, and they would go away, but then they would come back, and when they came back, they were like larger than life individuals. And I always looked up to those people, and I was like, that's what I want to do. And, the Marine Corps wasn't my first choice. Yeah. So what happened is I went into the Air Force and the Navy, and they offered me some really cool stuff, the technical trades, and they could do this and that. But that just wasn't me. I wanted to fight. And then I went into the Army recruiting office, and they said they could do this, this, and this, and it was very appealing to me. It seemed beautiful. Like, that is a fast track. That's what I want to do. But then I went into the Marine Corps office, and they treated me vastly different and said the things that they say, and say, we can't promise anything. It's all up to you, and it's initiative, and we really don't think you have what it takes. All right, let's do this then. Right? I had this recruiter that was very firm with me, and he was the first male outside of my family and group of influenced people that treated me like I need to prove everything to this individual. And I was like, wow, all right, let's do this, right? So that was the start of it. And then it just escalated from there.
Yeah, that's incredible. I don't know if I told you, I retired from the Army medically. I got injured, had to have my shoulder replaced. But my start of the military was actually in the Navy. I went to a recruiter, and I did the ASVAB test that we do in the United States for military, and qualified to become a corpsman. So I spent the first 7 years of my life in the military doing as a corpsman. Went to Pendleton and trained at Pendleton, and had a blast with the Marines there. What year did you go into the Marines?
2004.
Okay, so where was I? Oh, I think I was in Pendleton around 2003. So just before you got there. So I didn't draw your blood or give you shots or anything. So yeah, that's incredible. So you enter the Corps. And my experience with the Corps is high standards, very strict, a lot of expectation physically. Really, physically was just drilled in. You can't do 20 pull-ups. Are you kidding me? Get back over there and work on it until you can get 20 pull-ups, right? Like, does that mentality still stay with you today?
It's not going away. And I would say, though, that was a struggle when I got out. And we'll just kind of fast forward.
Go.
My struggle getting out was high expectations of everything, including everyone. Meaning, if you're not a disciplined individual, me and you, we can't jive. Two, if you don't take care of priorities now, we can't jive. Everything for the better part of a decade was discipline, and initiative. But discipline in the Corps is treated vastly different from discipline in the outside world.
Yes.
You could ask any child, what do you think discipline means? And they think, I'm in trouble.
Right.
They think getting corrected. But in the Corps, discipline means freedom. It means if you have the discipline to do this, you could do this. If you have the discipline to maintain your health, you could perform. If you have the discipline to study, you'll advance. Everything discipline equals freedom, and that was so hard getting out because that is not the perception in the civilian world. The perception is discipline means you're in trouble. Discipline means arrogance. Discipline means a lot of times aggression and violence, and it's just not that way. So that was a struggle. But the Marine Corps, I mean, they maintain the highest standards, and you know, it's strange though, because I think the perception in the Marine Corps is vastly different than really how it is. The infantry Marine Corps, in the better part of a decade, I never encountered a single infantry Marine where if I had a question and I asked them, that they would not drop everything they're doing and they fulfill my needs. I mean, that's just commonplace. No matter the rank, no matter what, you know, billet you're in, it's like, you need help? I got you. And that's like a beautiful thing.
It is.
So...
It is. That's incredible. This need to prove yourself, do you feel like that's carried over into your business today?
You know, that's a good question. I mean, you know,
I wouldn't say it's a need to prove himself per se. I think for what I observed is that he is always going to expect the highest performance from himself, and he will always give that. I don't think it's to prove anything. I think it's just because he expects that quality and that work ethic from himself first and foremost. And if going to, you know, he's putting his name on all of these things, so he is sending them out with his name on it, with his you know, this is me, this is who I am. I'm going to show you, this is what I will always give you, which he does. He always, I mean, there have been the tiniest imperfections in an item, and he's like, nope, I'm throwing that one out, because he will not let anyone receive anything than his best.
Yeah, I mean, we're so hard on each other. You know, we are our own worst critics, and I would say out of the thousands of knives we made, because we're already into that realm, we've received like one bad review, and I think it was an education on the customer, not necessarily a bad product. But I tell you what, I mean, that ate me up.
Yeah.
I was not happy with myself, you know. So it's standards and expectations and everything. And I mean, there's like a Japanese concept, and it's called Kaizen, and it's beauty in imperfection. And I'm really trying to embrace that, because holy crap, I mean, if you try to make everything perfect, you're just going to die trying. And you have to learn how to accept that, you know. And I'm a very like laid back individual anyways, so you would think that would come easy to me with like the product we put out, but it's not.
You know, that's a good thing though, as an owner of a business where quality is at the top of your priority, as well as creativity. I mean, you're making custom products here. You're not a manufacturing line that's just zipping it out. There's a heart, there's emotion, there's everything poured into this product, which is why I think you've had success thus far and will continue to see success globally. So,
sure, yeah.
And we get really attached to our products. I mean, these are, you know, front to back, we do every detail, and we are nitpicking every centimeter of these knives. And so when we're sending them off, here you go. We get very attached to these.
Yeah, for sure.
So.
And for our audience today, I will put in the description of this video their contact information, where you can go to their site and look at all of the quality products that they're doing currently. And please reach out to them if you're in the market for a knife. We definitely want to promote veterans doing good things. When we talk about a wellness journey, I do my own videos on my channel with fitness, with nutrition. I follow like a Mediterranean diet in the last 7 weeks. I think I've started this channel 7 weeks ago. It's crazy to think. We're almost going to hit 12,000 here in a couple minutes. Maybe we've already hit it while we've talked. I've already lost about 17 pounds, and I feel healthier. I feel better. Somebody taught me an important principle about nutrition that I can want to continue to emphasize with our audience, is that if you've experienced a TBI, or PTSD, depression, anxiety, your food will feed your brain. And so what you put into your mouth will affect how your memory works, your mood swings, everything. And so I'm keeping track of everything that I feel different when I'm eating healthier, and it's much improved. Talk to me about your journey of wellness that you've taken after your military time. Did you deploy at all?
I did, yes, both Iraq, Afghanistan, multiple times. I was an infantry Marine, so I was a machine gunner. And so it was just kicking down doors and flying in helicopters and taking care of whatever the mission was. So,
what was your area in Iraq?
So Haditha, Iraq.
Yep.
I mean, we could go into that, but that's a real long story. But we were in the Battle of Haditha when essentially all insurgents from Baghdad, Fallujah, and Ramadi got pushed south. So it was the stronghold for the insurgency while we were there. And then we were the first Marine unit into the Korangal Valley, Afghanistan, and that was a wild place. So, but nonetheless, though, it's the people you serve with, and it's your experience. It was despite being in combat, it was honestly a very beautiful time. It was, I mean, the mission, no matter what people say, when you're there, you experience something vastly different, and just seeing the people that you could help is such a wonderful thing. But wellness is huge. I mean, so I think the problem is when you're in the military, you have all these resources available. And you have this support network and structure. I mean, if you live in the barracks, you eat, sleep, train with your brothers. You go out and have a good time with your brothers, and you always have wellness check. You're always seeing each other face to face. But then you get out and you don't have that anymore. So I think veterans struggle with that. But I know from my experience, mental health and physical health comes with purpose. And when for me, I was in the Marines, the purpose was always there. But when you get out, I think what veterans really struggle with is they're like, I went from being a naval corpsman where I was in charge of this clinic and all these patients and helping all these people out, or I was this Marine so-and-so or this Army soldier doing these big things. They get out and they're like, I'm working at a local drugstore, or I'm working at Walmart, or I'm doing something that they don't think is purposeful.
Yep.
So they think that their life is that and they're done with. They think that their whole makeup of who they are, the entirety of Andy is a Marine, when that's like vastly understated. That is not the truth at all. It's these stepping stones in life. And I've seen it with my brothers. They struggle with like mental health and physical health, and it coincides because they don't have a purpose again. And for me, finding that purpose was, I get out, I have these careers, I'm not happy in these careers, and I'm struggling through life. And then finally I find like twofold. I find a woman who loves me, right? A family that cares for me. So now I have this support system, but then I find a creative outlet that gives me a purpose to honestly decompress. I mean, it is an understated value to have a person who loves you, believes in you, a family that loves and believes in you, this community, to always say, we don't care what you try, even if you fail, we're here, we got you, we love you. And you know, it's a sad reality. So many people, not only veterans, but people, they simply do not have that. I mean, I work with my best friend, I live with my best friend.
Yeah.
We do everything together. You know, if we fail, that's okay. Our purpose is to support each other, to make each other happy. And that includes, I mean, I would say the bigger achievement for wellness is her. I mean, she had an eating disorder growing up. She essentially had a compromised system. I mean, you could go into that too, because I think that's amazing.
Yeah. Health and wellness and mental health. I've had, anxiety and depression my whole life. It's just, something that I've always struggled with. And around 16, I developed a pretty severe eating disorder. I got help when I was 21. Went into a clinic, and and ever since then I've been just kind of getting better. But my making sure that I'm eating right, making sure that I'm going to the gym and doing those things, those are absolutely vital to my mental health. And there's a concept my dad has always talked about, the upstairs part of your brain, the higher functioning parts of your brain, and then there's the basic the parts that basically take care of your basic needs. That's the lower part of your brain, and he always called it the upstairs and the downstairs. To stay upstairs, you're higher functioning. There's a lot of ways to get there. You do something creative. You laugh. You serve others. You do these things, and that's something that's really important. I know for me is to find ways to stay upstairs. And the physical activity, the creativity, and all of these, those things are so important every single day to maintain a healthy mind and body. So,
humans by nature, they die if they're stagnant.
Mm-hmm.
We are not creatures designed to stay still and to not take care of emotions, mental and physical health. And so for us, it's the gym daily, or it's being outside doing physical activities daily. I mean, it is such an understated thing where people, even going to the gym, they spend every day in the gym, and yet their mental depression still suffers a little bit. And a quick fix is like, go outside. That's all you have to do. And that will make you so much better, even if it's for 5 minutes. But if you start to compound that, and you go outside and you do physical activity, and you eat healthy, and you read, and you listen to things that fulfill your mind, it just compounds. I mean, it's such a slow progression, but then eventually you're where you need to be, and you don't even realize it.
What both of you guys are saying resonates with me personally so well. Just this morning, I invited a new friend to come work out with me in my gym in the garage. That's my garage behind me over there. Can I point? Yeah, I can point. And he hasn't worked out in a long time, but I want him to work on his confidence, his health. And I even told him, I said, come outside of the garage. The sun's almost over the mountain. Let's go look at it together, because that first light over the mountain in the morning, and I'm in Logan, because we're surrounded by mountains here, but hits me right in the face, and there's a feeling of healing that comes just from that. And I said, brother, if you want to take it an extra step, take off your shoes and walk through my grass. He's like, you got a dog, right? And I was like, good point. So don't walk through the grass, but that's another way to be grounded and feel that. And I sure appreciate the vulnerability of sharing some of these personal experiences. Gina, sharing your past and your eating and your mental struggles. This is not uncommon to the world. This is kind of the language of the world right now, is some kind of a trauma-led inducing all of these other things. So I hope that the audience that listens today can take that away and say, she's not a veteran, but look at what her journey has been from trauma to triumph, this journey of wellness. And you heard both of them state they continue to do things every single day to check that box, get a win. And that's what I encourage everyone on this channel to do today. Andrew, you talked about purpose-driven life, and I that resonates with me so much. When I left the service, I did 17 and a half years. My injury got so bad that I just couldn't even hold my arm up. And it was too bad, because I was fast tracking. I was moving on. I just made the major board and was about to take another company, and everything ended. I got out and went to work at Amazon. Thank goodness they hired me as an operations manager. I got to learn warehousing and logistics. But it also masked what I was struggling with. I was working 15 hours a day, 7 days a week sometimes during peak time. And I got another job where things slowed down. And then the tidal wave of everything, depression, anxiety, anger, And I'm a religious man. I felt like I was grounded. I had, like what you said, family. I had all of these things. But I wasn't immune. And I had to do a lot of work on myself. Part of it was keeping the fitness up. Part of it was changing my nutrition. Part of it was connecting with people. And you both have spoken about all of those things at once. So it feels good to me to have that validated as I work with this global audience, that connection is key.
It is.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's huge. It's everything, right? And, you know, similar though, I get out of the Marine Corps and I go do executive protection. I'm on a detail. We're protecting the 3 wealthiest American families. That was my career after the Marine Corps. And you would think you're pulling in almost $300,000. You're flying private jets, traveling the world. I mean, we're eating, like, no lie, $100,000 dinners. And that's commonplace. And I was the most miserable I have ever been. And it's because I lost all human connection. I was protecting, we'll call it babysitting. I was babysitting people who had no respect for the people around them. To everything was lost in translation. It was a lifestyle that you cannot even comprehend. Everything was taken for granted. And as an individual in charge of these people's lives, you're treated as, cannon fodder. You're just somebody that takes care of the tasks. And then, like you compound it with 15, 16, 17-hour days consistently. And you have no time for, we always speak rest and relaxation, but it's more than that. It's like active, proactive, solutions to your problems. And, too many people, they drown their problems in alcohol or drug use, or they drowned it in eating terrible. And here you are, now you're 50 pounds heavier and you don't know how to recover from that. Yeah. So now mentally compromised and physically compromised, and how do you recover, right? And it really is, once again, just purpose-driven results. And for me, the first step of purpose-driven results being so miserable was, I got to get out of this environment. I have to find a place that is slower paced. I have to get back to reasonable living, and that really helped me, is slowing down everything. I would go from almost $300,000 a year to having a career where I'm making $25,000 my first year, and I was the happiest you could imagine, because the people I worked with were amazing. I could be in my community, and it's all these human relation things that I missed out on because the pursuit of money. And that was kind of depressing when I look at it now, So, yeah.
No, I'm glad you said that, because when we talk values and principles that lead to purpose, the pursuit of money does not lead to the pursuit of happiness.
No.
It results in the pursuit of stuff. Part of when I went to Amazon, I lost my purpose. I was helping people buy stuff that they would keep for a year, and it would end in a landfill somewhere. And I was like, what am I doing? I used to deploy to refugee camps in Africa and make a difference in people's lives. And now I'm helping them buy crap that they can throw away. And it hurt me. It hurt me bad. And not just me. A lot of veterans were hired on by Amazon right after they left the service and came into an operations type role. And a lot of them had that drain in the eyes where they were numb. But it took me a long time to find a new purpose. And I said, I only started reaching out to veterans again and trying to connect and hear their stories. Because I lost sight of other people's needs above my own.
Mm-hmm.
I was so focused the wrong direction that I missed out on years of connection. And I heard a story recently from a person who supported my channel, and they said a comment like, you've talked about supporting veterans across the globe no matter what flag they fought for. our purpose is the same. We're trying to recover. We're trying to heal. And she said, you have helped me stop hating because of this drive to unify people who were former enemies and find peace. And I thought, that's what I want. That's what I want. I want to promote peace. Of course, we defend ourselves and our families, right? That's part of what we do, and your company promotes this, and I love that message. I made a video today for the Ukrainian people and soldiers in Ukraine, and I told them I supported them in defending their families because that's what we believe, and protecting the innocent. I'll add that in there too because I always want to protect the innocent. You guys are an incredible couple. And your purpose is very clear. And you don't get to the place you're at today without having to go through some fire. Mm-hmm. And there's a refining process that takes place in your guys' lives, and it's evident in speaking with you today. As we round out this interview for the last couple of minutes, and Andrew, I want to come back and circle back for a part 2 and dive into some of your experiences on deployment,
Sure.
Get into some detail because you're talking about 2 significant deployments where there was great violence against and offensive. And I would love to dive into that a little bit more with you and hear your story. But
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, he has some wild stories.
I can't wait to hear. I want to ask you guys a question as we finish up here. What advice would you give this global audience today as it applies to their wellness journey, especially with their mental and physical health? Maybe each of you take turn, yeah.
It's to kind of compound on how you feel. If you take care of yourself first, and that sounds selfish, right? Because, growing up, you're taught, take care of your brother and sister, take care of your family. You get employment, take care of your coworkers. You're in the military, take care of everybody else. But the reality is if you could take care of yourself first, show the initiative and have enough discipline to check all the boxes in your mental well-being, mental health, physical health, the correct nutrition, making sure you're taking in images and literature that is meaningful. You can't waste time on anything that could compromise your system. And that's images you see, that's things you watch, that's literature that you take in, that's books that you read, right? Take care of yourself first, and everybody else will fall into place. And it sounds very selfish to some, but if you look at the people that you love in your life and you had mentors growing up, they had their stuff together. And by having your stuff together, you're like a magnet. You draw people in, whether it's a compromised person or whether it's a strong person. They look at you and say, he's doing something right. And a lot of times that opens up the door of communication. It's a young kid sees me taking care of myself. Here I am, 38. I'm doing something I love. I'm in good physical health. I have an awesome family. I have this history that they can look up to. And sometimes all it takes is for them then to come to me because they know I have my stuff together. And now I could help them. And you can't do that efficiently if you're not taking care of yourself.
Agreed.
And it just takes a little bit of time. I mean, it's like one little thing here and one little thing there, and then eventually you're to the point where you don't even realize you've already surpassed where you needed to be. Mm-hmm. I would say that, yeah.
Awesome.
And kind of going along with that, we're parents. We have 4 kids, and growing up, the things that I ended up kind of picking up from my parents, the positive, just that routines or positive attributes that I took from my parents. It not because they told me what to do, it's because they were doing it. They just say it, they did it, and I paid attention enough, and I said, that is something I want. So I've been doing it. So I think, you know, with our kids, we're trying to lead by example. We want them to also, you know I can see also already in one of my kids that there's a little bit of the anxiety from my family. Like, I can see that already, and she's quite young, but I don't want her to struggle as hard as I did with it. So I'm leading by example. This is how you can combat this. But that's, you know, I think everything starts with it's just one step, followed by another step, followed by another step. Even if all you're doing is taking 10 minutes out of your day to do something, whether it's reading something that is, you know, positive, or, you know, going for a walk, anything that you start, just a little bit of it is still more than you would have if you didn't do it. And it's something. So I think even when you're not, you know, feeling up for it, or not doing, you know, you're like, I just am not in the mood, or I don't feel very motivated. It doesn't matter. Take that time. You take that first step towards what your goal is, and it's something. So I would say, but yeah, anyone struggling, just take one step. And if all you can do is one step, promise yourself you'll take that one step. And if you take that one step and you feel like you could do a second step, do that. If that's where you're done, one step, okay, you did that one step, and that's something that you can feel good about. But leading by example, leading by you know, your own, you know, don't, you know, you walk your walk, you know, you do what you're trying to, you know, have everyone else around you do. So
Yeah, I love those messages. I'm going to make them very concise, and I put it in the description so people can read it very clearly, but excellent advice. You know, you guys, it's been a wonderful experience meeting with you both today. It's almost like I'm sitting in your living room with you and learning from the both of you. Thank you very much for sharing your story with us, and we will connect again and hear more in the future, and I'll be happy to help you guys out. You guys are wonderful, so thanks very much for your time.
We appreciate it. Thank you.